Welcome to Over Here We Craft, the channel dedicated to helping you turn your love of crafting into supplemental income. I'm DJ. I'm a small business owner, a crafter, and low-key, an undercover foodie. Connect with me on Facebook and TikTok, and don't forget to like and subscribe if this video helps you. Let's get in it. All right, so now we are making an order for our customer. And the first thing that I do is I will make a copy of my template that I am going to be working on. In this case, I am making one of my custom tumblers. So I have made a copy of it. And the next thing that I'm going to do is rename it so that I don't confuse it. So then in this case, we're going to name this one for our Sora who the order is for. And I always like to include the date that I made the item. That way, if the customer ever has an issue with their order, I will remember the date that I made it in case I have to remake it. Then I'll go ahead and delete the original template. That's my main that I start with. And now I'm going to go ahead and delete the other color options because she has selected the royal blue. And that's going to allow me to work solely on her. Next, we're going to have to get rid of my photograph, which I used for sizing. And we're going to go ahead and get rid of my name because she wants it customized with her own wording. And something that I always do is when I am making an item for my customers to put on my Etsy shop or in my website, I make one for myself first and I test it out and see if I'm gonna like it. So that is the original template that I'm working from that you see here on the screen. So we're gonna go ahead and add her name. And as you can see, her name is longer than mine. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up the line spacing as best as I can. And in this case, it's still going to spill over onto the bottom of the template, so that's not good. So we are going to have to adjust the size of her name in order for what she wants to fit nicely on her cup. So we're going to go ahead and shrink that down. Right now, I need to organize and, I need to center better the middle of it because by changing the size of her name, it's throwing the outline of the cup a little bit off. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust that as I make her name. Make sure we move her name in front of the design by bringing that to the front. And now I am just kind of cleaning up the cup itself so that everything is nicely centered before I bring her picture. I am not allowing in this particular item for the messaging to be customized. This is the standard custom message on my Positive Vibes Tumbler. And so I did offer different color themes, and royal blue and white is particularly popular with my sorority sisters from Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. So we'll just go ahead and get this cleaned up, grouping things together. Sometimes when I'm working in Etsy, I do have to shrink my view in order for me to clean up some of those splashes and elements along the side. Oops, look at me adding an extra page that we do not need. I see here that I have grouped one of the elements to the words, and that's what's messing me up here. And so I need to ungroup it so that I can fix that. Sometimes Canva listens a little too well. I did not mean to group the wording with the splashes and elements, so I had to get rid of that. Now I need to enlarge it so that I can make sure that I have it all the way I want it to be. So let me move that out the way. And let me just go ahead and click on each of the messages. Go ahead and group those together so that they move as a unit. That will allow me to center better. Let's bring those splashes back in and get those adjusted. Stretch that back out a little bit. And now I have my middle. Okay here. So now let's go ahead and move that center. I love that Canva gets me my solid red line. That lets me know that I'm perfectly centered in the middle. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and bring that to the front so that my messaging is in front of all of my elements. Name is looking good. Let's make sure we're solid in that red line. And now we're going to go ahead and upload her high resolution photo. This order came via my Shopify website. And so I had already saved the picture over. So we're going to upload that. And once it's uploaded, we're going to go ahead and add it to our design. And I'll do some sizing here and then use the edit photo feature to get rid of her background, because on Sublimation, it is going to look a little crowded. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that background. Click on edit photo and it should give you the option to remove the background. A few seconds later, the background will go away. And I'm left with her beautiful pose. So now we're going to go ahead and just do this for element's sake. We're going to enlarge it a little bit. Let's get it sized perfectly. Going to go ahead and move that to the back. A little extra space on the way, and I think I like that better here. And I am going to go ahead and layer this. Now her name is going to blend into the dress. So I think what I'm going to do is click on effects and put an outline around it, just so that when I sublimate it, it can stand out a little bit more. And I know white doesn't always show up. Let's just go with a light gray. That should do it for me. We're going to get us a gray on there. That makes that stand out a little bit more. I like that. Now let's go ahead and put her picture to the back so that her hand and elbow is not cutting off some of the wording. I can also just click on that and bring that into the front, which is what I think it needs to do. Now her pose is behind the words, and I think that looks really good. Everything is centered. I'm loving my colors. So now it's time to save it, so that we can go over into our other platform, Adobe Illustrator, and get it all printed out. I think I should move those sparkles a little bit out of the way, and I can go ahead and crop that so that they look a little more balanced like the left. Perfect. I think we're good to go. Go ahead and click on that share button. Mouse is acting up. Click on the share button. Let's go ahead and click download. I am downloading in PNG. That is just what works for me. I click download. It's going to import as a PNG for me. And then I'm going to go ahead and save it over here on my desktop. My computer defaults to downloads, but I will move it to the desktop because that's what I'm going to be working on today. And I'm going to go ahead and change it. I'm not going to mess with her original picture in case I ever have to go back and get that again. But we'll name this Tumbler. Yeah, Tumbler Final. My date is there. The name is there. So now we're good to go there. Next thing we need to do is open up our Adobe Illustrator. And I actually download this digitally from Amazon. Works for me. Some folks will purchase the software outright. It's all a matter of preference here, but it takes a moment to open up. What I love is that in Adobe Illustrator, everything you do saves to Adobe Creative Cloud for you. Everything has a cloud, so that's always awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and enlarge this so that we can have a better view. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on New File. on, little mouse. My mouse is being so stubborn while I'm doing this video. It is trying to keep me from being great. All right, we're gonna click on the file for new, and we need our size. I am using my 8.5 by 14 sublimation paper from HTV Ront. I am out of my 8.5 by 11 paper, which helps me not waste paper, but you use what you got. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to landscape. I only need one artboard, and I'm going to click create. Next, I am going to go up and shrink the view so I can see the whole screen. Sometimes you can't see the whole artboard if you don't shrink the view. 66.7 is just what works good for me. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead over and click on File. I'm going to click on Place, and I'm going to go into my desktop, and I'm going to bring the image over. There it is. Hit Place, and it's going to bring it in, and it normally brings it in the size I need, but sometimes you may have to check that. Next thing I do is I align center, and I also align vertically center. That way it's as centered as it was when we were working in Canva. Now, mostly it looks good. It doesn't change anything because when you bring it over in a PNG, you don't have to worry about anything happening to your image or anything getting moved around. But I need to make sure that I get the sizing right because I do have paper left over, and I hate to waste paper. The last thing we want to do is waste expensive sublimation paper. So right now I need to check on the actual tumbler size that I'm going to be using, and I need to make it a little bit bigger because I'd rather it flow off the top where I'm going to tape versus getting that white gap along the top of my frosted tumblers. So I need to go in here and I need to change my picture. And I'm going to make this 8 by 9.5. And I see that I'm going to have paper on both sides. That means I'm going to have to use the paper cutter. And I think I need to save myself a little bit of time. Yeah, I don't think I want to waste that much paper because it'll be hard to repurpose any of that. So let's go ahead and move this over vertically, horizontally. And I have some extra space there. So if I wanted to drop any other sublimation images there, maybe I want to do something that could go on like a pocket, something that could go on one of my little tote bags, something that could go maybe even on a coffee mug. But at least when I go to cut the image, it's going to leave me with a crisp, clean piece of the paper to use for something else. So now we're going to click on File so we can get ready to print. And I always go and adjust the driver to make sure it is on the right paper. In this case, it's an 8.5 by 14 is the paper that I have. And you saw that adjusts. All of my items are set up in my ET15000. That is my converted printer that I do my sublimation on. And now I'm looking at this and I don't like all that extra white paper. That's going to be a lot of cutting that I'm going to have to do. And those little pieces will get in the way. So I think we've got enough space in the image to stretch out the height just a little bit more than 8. So I am working with an 8.5 by 14 piece of paper. So I think I'm going to cancel that and let me edit this image just a little bit more. So we're going to go back over here to this height And we're going to change the height. Let's see what 8.25 is. See how much white space that leaves. It took some of it away, but it's still leaving me with, I think that we need to change this. I've got enough in the design. If it cuts off a little bit at the top and the bottom, it'll be okay. So I think I need to change the height. And maybe we will make the height 8.5. Let's look at see what it's like. Yeah, I'm liking that much, much better because we're going to tape the top and the bottom of the tumbler anyway. And so that's just going to give us nice clean color all the way across this. We like that much better. Let's go ahead and click on print. Everything else is still the same. Double check the artboard. I'm liking, I don't see any white at the top and the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and tell it to print. And as with all my sublimation prints, I always like a print preview. And we're going to go ahead and click print on this baby. And I think we're good.
Now don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And to all my money makers out there, you can do it. I believe in you. Now go be great.